What's up, everybody? It's Flair, former 1%, and I'm here chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Flair, 1%. Now, how many people had the same patch as you, the swastika on the back?
There were quite a few. But most of the guys that wore the swastika patch were the older guys. Guys that been there for a while, guys that know, what comes with wearing the swastika, because that's one thing. There's a lot of backlash that comes with that swastika. There are dudes that almost got run off the road for that swastika.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. So I wore it with pride, man. I wore it with pride. It's nothing about race. It's nothing about Hitler. It's nothing about the Holocaust. There's much deeper meaning to swastikas before Hitler adapted it. So I did my research, and I had no problem wearing it, and I wore it proudly.
So before you get to that point,
yes, sir.
What was the prospect period like?
It depends, man, because I'll be honest, bro. I feel like when I went into the Ching A Lings, I was like gung ho everything. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be that guy. Like I wanted to be that guy, and I was, and I felt like a lot of guys kind of like they looked at me and they didn't see a prospect. So I used to have to like force my way into certain things because they wouldn't always treat me like a normal prospect.
They were treating you like a member, right?
Yeah. And that it kind of caused trouble with the prospects. Because the prospects that were there already, now they're looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? And like, how the fuck is he coming in with all these, special privileges? And it puts me in a bad spot,
How many prospects do they have at this point?
At the time when I came in, it was me. There were 5 prospects. I was number 5.
So yeah, it looks a little like, damn, who is this guy? He comes in here just throwing his weight around, and we've been putting in work, right?
And it's so funny because, if only they would have took the time to actually get to know the situation and what happened, they would have known that these was offering me a fullback and I declined it.
You could have jumped right over them.
I could have been right above all of you, and I chose to be on your level.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like I chose that, and you guys are sitting here mad at me. Like I don't understand.
Do you get patched in before the prospects? Or do they get some patches?
No. I got patched in. So I prospected for about 5 months. Then they gave me my center patch. And then when I got my center patch, I think three of the other prospects also got their center patches. So it was cool. It was smooth. It wasn't much hating going on at the time. I don't think there was, at least. And then I would say that happened in June, and then come December, the president took my center patch back. Yeah, what? I got in trouble. Well, trouble, quote unquote trouble. I did something that they didn't agree with, and they said they wanted the center patch, and I gave it up with no problem. And they were like, "Oh, you're just gonna give up the patch?" Blah blah. I said, "I'm Flair with or without that patch," and they didn't like that.
Do you mind telling me what the problem was?
I went on vacation. That was it, bro. I went to Puerto Rico.
What did you not tell them?
I told them. I went to Puerto Rico for about, I think, 5 days. But see, at the time, the clubhouse, had a lot going on, so they wanted guys there. And me being a prospect, So this is the thing with the Ching A Lings. With the Ching A Lings, is even if you have your even if you have your center patch, you can have a full back and still be considered a prospect. So they looked at me and they were like, "Oh, you're still a prospect because I didn't have my heart patch. Heart patch is like the main patch for the Ching A Lings that solidifies you. Once you get your heart patch, then you're solidified. You're a brother. You're a brother.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I didn't have that patch yet. So they still, some guys like to treat me still as a prospect, and some guys, show me the respect. But they were like, "Oh, we need you here and this and that." And I'm like, dude, like I got a life too, right?
yeah. Like
And
you
when
got your own obligations to.
they called me while I was out there, and they were like, "Oh, So originally my vacation was only supposed to be for the weekend, and I had extended it a couple days. So they got mad that I extended. They was mad that I was away for the weekend, point of all. But then when I extended it, they got even more mad. So I spoke to the vice president, and he was my outlaw father at the time. And he was like, "Dude, this is what it is. This is what it is. You're just gonna have to come back and face the music." I said, "Fine, cool." Came back as soon as I got back the same day. I went home, got dressed, showered. I went straight to the clubhouse. The president's like, "Oh, come to the back, sit down." I sat down with the president. He starts talking to me. He's like, "Oh, take the pat." Took it off. He's like, "Oh, you're not gonna ask why?" I said, "No, I don't need. To, I don't need to know."
Do you think if you would have said, "I'm not taking the patch off," you think they would have let you keep it on?
Um,
You think if
if
maybe
they
it was a test?
see now, here's the thing with that, right? The thing with that is that I'm I wouldn't have respected them had I said, "No, you're not getting this patch," and they were like, "Okay." After that, nobody could tell me a thing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even have set that up for myself because I have so much respect for this patch that I'm not going to disrespect this patch by disrespecting the president. So I took it off and I gave it to him. And I don't know, like I said, he was like, "Oh, you're not going to ask why?" I guess he was a little upset that I wasn't so caring of them taking my center patch. But like I said, I told him straight up, with or without this patch, I'm still going to be Flair. I was Flair before that patch.
They say a man makes the patch, and it's true.
But that's the thing. At the time, you know, at the time, the president at the time, he would uh he would kind of dangle patches in front of people, and people would be jumping and trying to jump through hoops to get those patches. And I'm not that dude. I'm not that dude, man. Like you can't sway me with a patch.
A lot of clubs out there do that, where they're, oh, you always must listen to another member, and then they play these games like, oh, you're not going to fight for the patch? Oh, we weren't going to take it anyway, or something like that.
Yeah, but things like that, man, like that's not something to play with, man. Honest truth, like it's not something to play with. Cause you know why? Cause people earn these patches. People go hard for these patches, and yeah, I might not have prospect for as long as your normal prospect, but I didn't even have to prospect, and I still did it. I earned my patch, so yeah, I care about my patch, but you're not gonna get me to do a dance because you're waving my patch in front of my face. That's not. I'm good.
Do you feel like some of the people in the club had a like power tripping
Absolutely.
a little bit?
I think people in every club power trip. I think there's someone in every club that power trips at some point in time.
They feel like they put on the patch and it makes them someone else, right?
And it's not everybody, but every club has at least one. Every club.
Yeah, it makes them 6 feet tall all of a sudden, and 10 feet tall, and they know
Absolutely.
how to fight. And a lot of times people will get like mouthy because they have a patch on, because they think people won't challenge it,
I've
you
seen
know?
it. I've seen it. I've been there. It's shameful. It's actually pretty shameful how easy it is to to put a 1% patch on your chest. It's so easy and it's sad.
Any situations happen when you were prospecting or in between this time that we're talking about that stand out in your mind that you could tell me about?
Absolutely. I mean, there were many situations. There were many situations that came about. One of the situations I can share with you might be a little deep. Some of the guys from the club may not like that I share it, but I don't give a fuck. I'm a man. At the time when I came in, there was a sergeant at arms. There was a sergeant at arms, and for some reason, he just he always rubbed me the wrong way. Like it was like he was one of those dudes that was power tripping all the time, and he was he was a tiny he was a tiny dude. He must have been 5'5", skinny as shit, maybe 150 pounds, soaking wet, and he was a sergeant at arms. So I'm thinking, this guy must be the real deal. Like, if he's a sergeant at arms, this guy must be the real deal. There was a lot of bullshit that happened. I'm not gonna get into details about everything. There was a lot of bullshit that was going on, and I didn't respect how he was moving around and how he was taking his patch and taking advantage of certain things. I literally seen him steal from the club.